what is really wrong with Nigeria? What is really wrong with Nigeria? You know, I've been studying the whole scenario that has culminated into this conundrum that we found ourselves today. And I'm seeing, what is it exactly that has led to where we are? And if we've discovered the reason, is there a solution? Can we really work together as a country? Or is Nigeria a curse that needs to be, delivered away from us? Now, these are my own small perspectives and I want to share with the world, right? Okay. First and foremost, the very first problem with Nigeria is the narratives that the colonial masters left with us. For instance, what we refer to today as Northern Nigeria, it's not supposed to be Northern Nigeria. And what you refer to today as Southern Nigeria is not supposed to be Southern Nigeria. That the Southern Nigeria we refer to today was a protectorate, was an administrative boundary of the colonial master. So is the North. The one you refer to today, it was an administrative boundary. So when these two protectorates was amalgamated in 1914, it was wrong to start referring to the Northern Protectorate as northern part of Nigeria and the Southern Protectorate as southern part of Nigeria. That was where our problem our problem started, because what we now refer to as Northern Nigeria, the people at the far north believe they own all this part from the top to the bottom. That's Benue, Kogi, and all of that, with the string of religion of Islam that was used to knot them. So they believe they own them. And when they now see the size of the Southern Protectorate, which now they refer to as Southern Nigeria, they believe that because of land mass, they are entitled more to the country called Nigeria than Southerners, because after all, the land that South is bringing is just that small place. So we own the bigger land. So we should be more Nigerian than the South. Until this day, psychologically, most Northerners have this twisted mentality. Because if you buy a bottle of Coke, and the Coke is like maybe a 3/4 full, and then you buy a bottle of Fanta, and then it's maybe a quarter full, and then you turn everything into a new bottle to have another bottle entirely. You cannot call the new bottle Coke, neither can you call it Fanta. You have a new mix, and you cannot say because Coke, you have more Coke in the bottle and less Fanta in the bottle, and therefore the new mix we now have should be more Coke than Fanta. It's a new mix completely and have a different name. So that is the first problem that I've identified in Nigeria. The second problem is other narratives that have evolved based on this psychological deception that most, I wouldn't even say Northerners have. It is even, while the Northerners have this psychological depth that transcends Nigeria from the north to the south, the South, on the other hand, have this psychological inferiority, a complex inferiority or inferiority complex, that even they themselves try to, shrink themselves down to the ocean, making themselves look more miniaturized than what they should actually be. Like I said, because of this psychology, it has led to a lot of misnarrative. For instance, the Northerners believe that they have more population than the South. And even the Southerners believe themselves. I've stayed in the North for getting close to 60 years. And this narrative is one of the false narrative that every Northerners have tried to push and force down the Southern to that. Look, hey, we are more than you. And because of that, you should feel inferior or less important politically and every sphere of Nigerian life. You should feel less important to us. That's not true.
Welcome back to Local Journal. Today we are setting the record straight amidst the lies and historical manipulation that have led many to falsely believe that the Middle Belt, including states like Plateau, Benue, Kogi, Nasarawa, and part of Taraba, are Northern or Hausa Fulani territories. This dangerous misconception is not accidental. It is a deliberate strategy that dates back to colonial policy designed to blur ethnic lines, suppress indigenous identity, and consolidate power in the hands of a few. For too long, the Middle Belt has been lumped into the North politically and administratively in a way that erases its rich diversity, culture, and separate identity. This has not only distorted Nigeria's geopolitical reality, but has fueled marginalization and manipulation of Middle Belt voices. Let's dive deeper into the truth. But before this, if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, Kano may be big as it claims to be, but if you apart from the capital, once you travel out of the capital, the next place you see are just huts and villages. You cannot claim a state like Delta State where you have about 6 to 7 metropolises. Agbo is a metropolis, Sapele is a metropolis, Warri is a metropolis, Ugele is a metropolis, Asaba is a metropolis. A whole lot of places are metropolis. You cannot claim a place that has developed so much that you now have. Do you know what is called a metropolis? A metropolis is a place is a place that constitutes different people with so much activity that has become so big that you now have flyovers, taxis, different markets, people. I did my HS in Ugele sometime in 1987, right? When I went back 87 till 87, that's about 30 years later, when I went to Ugele, there was no space. I couldn't find space. That's Ugele local government alone. A place that you just, in less than 10 minutes, in less than 3 minutes, you've driven away from Ugele. Now, to even get to Ugele from Warri, it's because of the hustling and bustling of activity. So, that idea that the North have more population than the South is really, it's a very, very wrong narrative. But hey, who am I? Even the South believe that the North have more population than them. But then again, where is North? Where is South? For me, anything that cuts from Abuja upward is supposed to be Northern Nigeria. And anything from Abuja downward is supposed to be Southern Nigeria. But then again, what do I know? Even those that have been shortchanged in this geographical description have accepted it. Even you, the Southerner, if you are traveling away from Delta to North, we say if you get to Benin, where are you? I see the South. If you reach Auchi, where you there, I see the South. When you reach Okene, hey, we don't enter North. Whereas where you are still in the southern part of Nigeria. Geographically speaking, you are still in the southern part of Nigeria. Now, until we correct this narrative, we will keep having this issue. Because our problem stems from these political narratives that have long favored the North, that have further fanned their political arrogance, leaving us with the political short end of the stick. We must correct it. We must correct it. There are other things I want to say, but I don't want to bring issues that will cause controversy, such as people saying that there are more Muslims in Nigeria than Christians. That's also a lie. That the North has more food than the South. That's also a lie. Actually, the food aspect, that the North feeds the South with food because Benue State is not in the northern part of Nigeria, for starters. How can you, a state that has no cultural bearing whatsoever, climatical bearing, geographical bearing, and then you say it's not because some people decide to write an expression that says, hey, Benue is northern part of Nigeria. Benue is not in northern part of Nigeria. For me, geographically speaking, they are in the southern part of Nigeria. you say you are supplying cow, which has now become a menace to the living life of Southerners, fine. But to say food, cassava, rice, plantain, palm oil, crayfish, fish, many things that we have as food, all the soup, we have about 100 recipe of soup, and they're all Southern soup with Southern recipe, with Southern ingredients. Nothing from we don't use the dawa and karkashi to cook our soup. And you say you feed us. How now? How? So these narratives that have suggested that the North should be politically arrogant or feel politically superior, it is the narrative that we need to change. I don't want to make this video too long and too boring. Otherwise, there are more things that I will suspect, but these are just a few. With these few points of mine, I hope I have succeeded in convincing you and not confusing you.
The mislabeling of the Middle Belt as the North is one of the greatest political frauds sustained since Nigeria's amalgamation in 1914. During colonial rule, the British found it more convenient to govern through indirect rule, using the Hausa Fulani Emirate system as their administrative tool in the Northern Protectorate. But as they expanded southwards in what is now called the Middle Belt areas, populated by independent, non-Muslim and ethnically distinct groups, they met resistance. Instead of recognizing this region as autonomous and unique, the British made them under the administrative North and subjected them to Hausa Fulani dominance, creating a false political map that has lasted till today. This colonial error has had a lasting consequences. Politically, the Middle Belt is often used as a vote bank and buffer zone to promote northern interest. Yet, the people themselves are rarely given the power, recognition, or resources they deserve. Culturally, many groups in this state feel forced to assimilate into the northern identity that does not represent their heritage. The truth is that the Middle Belt is ethnically, linguistically, and historically distinct from the core North, and to continue pretending otherwise is an injustice that only benefits a few political elites. This is why the call for restructuring Nigeria is not just timely but necessary. Restructuring will correct historical injustices by allowing each region to assert its true identity and govern based on its unique value, needs, and aspirations. It will empower marginalized groups like those in the Middle Belt to reclaim their voice and determine their own future. It will decentralize power from Abuja and give local government more control over their resources, culture, and security. Nigeria cannot move forward when its foundation is built on distortion. The Middle Belt is not the North, and pretending otherwise only continues the colonial legacy of dominance, erasure, and silence. To build a truly and just united Nigeria, we must first acknowledge the truth, then restructure the country so that every people, every region, and every identity is respected, protected, and empowered.